Hi, this is Anna Rona. Today, let's talk about mistakes. Mistakes are something we all make every day of our lives, several times a day, I'm sure. How do we think about the mistakes that we make? This is key. So, I'll give you an example. Many of us might have pets or parents, and you may be unconsciously saying this, not even realizing that this is what you're doing. But if your dog does something he or she is not supposed to, you may call him or her a bad dog, or your cat gets in and breaks something in the house, and it's a bad cat. And many parents do this to their kids as well. They commemorate, good girl or good boy. And likewise, they also say bad girl and bad boy when the behavior of the child is considered bad. So there's a really big distinction between someone behavior being judged as good or bad versus someone themselves being considered good or bad. So I want you to pay attention because many of us are just running on autopilot and unconsciously living our lives and thinking the thoughts that we think and speaking the words that we speak without necessarily realizing even that we may be doing this. I've caught myself doing this on several occasions. I've caught people in my life doing this, and I'm asked them if I can point this out to them, and they usually don't even recognize that, oh, I didn't realize there was even a distinction. So when we look at behavior of someone and judge it or criticize it or label it as being good or bad, or any mistake they make as being a mistake, basically, it doesn't mean this person or this being is the mistake. It means that something they did or said or what have you had the outcome of a mistake. So pay attention because this is a tricky one. We have a lot of self-talk in our heads as well. So what is your self-talk telling you? Because if you do something that, let's say you have a new project or something like that, and it didn't quite go the way you wanted to, you wanted to make some sales, you made none, the project was a failure because it didn't reach the goal you had wanted it to reach. But are you actually in your head saying things like, I am a failure? Because that's a big difference, the verb and the noun. I made a mistake or I am a mistake. So start to realize what's that inner self-talk going on inside, right? And then another point to make about making mistakes is, are you making the same mistakes over and over again? Because if you are, that means you're not learning from your mistakes. So we always make mistakes. It's like we're course correcting. So a plane does this too when it flies in the air. It doesn't actually go directly from point A to point B. It's more or less like kind of zigzagging. And every time it gets off course, it has this mechanism that steers it back to where it's got to go. And then it might swerve a little this way. And then it steers back to where it's got to go. And eventually it'll get to its destination. That's like us as well in life when we're reaching our goals. We have goals and we think we know the way to get to the goals, but we may actually not have the entire picture ahead of us because we only have what we can see in our view, whereas all that space we don't see. There could be so much out there that we have no idea what possibilities are. So when we are moving towards these goals and we make mistakes, they might not even be a bad thing, or we can't necessarily label them as a bad thing. I mean, we can, but if we do, we don't necessarily have to, because everything is a learning opportunity. Everything shines something, brings light on something that we can look at and learn from, and then make those tweaks, just like that airplane is kind of zigzagging in the sky. Make those tweaks so that we have less zig and less zag and more direct motion towards whatever goal we're going for. So that's what I wanted to talk about today, was the concept of mistakes, mainly how we view them, how we view people who make them, and start to notice this in your environment, whether it's your inner self-talk or whether people are actually saying things out loud that are criticizing the person themselves or the animal themselves for making the mistake, rather than just acknowledging that there was a mistake made by this person. And it's neutral. The person themselves is neither good or bad. Something they did is labeled as good or bad. And the second point was also to make sure we're learning from our mistakes because everything happens for a reason. So we can gain some more clarification on ourselves, or we can find out what doesn't work. And that way we are closer to finding out what does work. So I'd love to hear your comments about my version of what it means to make a mistake. And I'm wishing you a lovely day as always. Take care and God bless. Bye for now.